Hello guys, this is Pustakverma and you are watching Pustakverma Education for All YouTube channel. Today we are gonna discuss about an essay humility to what we call Namrata Modesty by Yuval no Harari from grade 12 compulsory English new course. So before dealing with this chapter, humility, we have to discuss some of the questions mentioned in our textbooks. They are in question A. What do you know about the Chinese civilization? So the answer is Chinese civilization first developed in the Yellow River region of northern China in 3rd and 2nd millennia BCE. The main crop in northern China was millet. In the ancient time, the main aspect of ancient Chinese civilizations were tea culture, pictographic characters for the writing, and high esteem for writings, literature, and historical records. So this is about the Chinese civilization. Then about question B, are there any similarities between South Indian and Chinese civilization? South Indian र Chinese civilization मा केही similarity छ. Both South Indian and Chinese civilization had hierarchies based on agriculture and organized patriarchal society. यिनीहरूमा के छ हायरार्की पाइन्छ र हायरार्कीको साथसाथमा अप डाउन यिनीहरूको रिलेसन छ. एग्रिकल्चर र एग्रिकल्चरमा हायरार्की पाइन्छ, एग्रिकल्चर बेस्ड हायरार्की छ र अर्को के छ patriarchal society, पितृसत्तात्मक मेल डोमिनेटेड सोसाइटी क्यान बी फाउन्ड. एन्सियन्ट चाइनिज सिभिलाइजेसन्सका केही फिगर्सहरू मेन्सन गरिएका छन्. अबाउट द राइटर युवल नो हरारी. प्रोफेसर युवल नो हरारी इज अ इजरायली public intellectual historians and a professor in the Department of History at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem. He is the best-selling author. उनी सबैभन्दा बढी के को लागि नोन छन् त Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind, Homo Deus, A Brief History of Tomorrow, and many more. He is a co-founder of Sapienship, a multidisciplinary organization advocating for global responsibility whose mission is to clarify the public conversation, support the quest for solutions, and focus attention on the most important challenges facing the world today. Harari exemplifies the virtue of humility, and claims that morality, art, spirituality, and creativity are universal human abilities embedded in our DNA. Humility is not thinking less of yourself but thinking of yourself less, said by J.S. Lewis. Then about the summary are main points of the essays. Humility to what we call namrata, humble, modesty भन्ने गर्छौँ. In this essay, humility, Yuval no Harari tells us that humility is a quality. यो एक किसिमको क्वालिटी हो that most culture lacks. धेरै जसो समुदायमा, कल्चरमा, संस्कृतिमा लेक हुन्छ. He exemplifies the virtue of humility by presenting the universal human attitude. यसको गुणहरू humility का के गुणहरू छन्? Abilities like morality, art, spirituality, and art and creativity embedded in our जुन हाम्रो DNA मा के हुन्छ attached भएका हुन्छन्. In this essay, the essayist mostly talks about how people believe towards their culture and human history. कसरी मान्छेहरू आफ्नो कल्चर र हिस्ट्री प्रति बिलिभ गरिरहेको हुन्छन्. And taking the views from different people and religions such as Greek philosophers, Homer, Sophocles, Plato, and many more. धेरै ग्रीक फिलोसोफर्सहरूको इन्स्टान्सेसहरू, उनको ओपिनियन्सहरू लिएर उनले कल्चर र ह्युमन हिस्ट्रीको बारेमा डिल गर्छन्. Chinese nationalists claim that human history really began with the Yellow Emperor. अब चाइनिज नेसनलिस्टको आधारमा ह्युमन हिस्ट्री येल्लो एम्पायरबाट सुरु भएको हो. एन्ड Xia and Xiang dynasty, Xia र Tang डाइनेस्टीबाट सुरु भएको. Which later followed and imitated by the Westerners, Muslims and Indians and many others. उनले चाइनिज नेसनलिस्टले के क्लेम गर्छन्? ह्युमन हिस्ट्री अथवा ह्युमन सिभिलाइजेसन चाइनिज अथवा येल्लो एम्पायरबाट सुरु भएको हो, चिया र स्याङ डाइनेस्टीबाट सुरु भएको हो, जसलाई लेटर पछि गरे वेस्टर्न्सहरूले, मुस्लिम्सहरूले, इन्डियन्सहरूले फलो गरे. तर हिन्दू नेटिभिस्टले के गर्छन्? यसलाई रिफ्युट गर्छन्, अस्वीकार गर्छन्. दि चाइनिज बोस्ट एन्ड क्लेम्स आर्गुइङ दैट इभन aeroplane and nuclear bombs were invented by the ancient sages in the इन्डियन सबकन्टिनेन्ट। उनीहरूले के दाबी गर्छन् त, इभेन एरोप्लेन्सहरू, एटम बम्सहरू के गरियो त इन्डियन सेजेसहरू एन्सियन्ट टाइममा जो सेजे साधुहरू थिए तिनीहरूले के गरे यसलाई इन्भेन्ट गरेका थिए। लङ बिफोर कन्फ्युसियस, प्लेटो, नट मेन्सन आइन्स्टाइन एन्ड राइट ब्रदर्स। त्योभन्दा पनि धेरै अगाडि घटनाहरू अथवा इभेन्टहरू यस्ता इन्भेन्सन्सहरू साधुहरूले गरिसकेका थिए। दे टेक द रेफरेन्स अफ हिन्दू mythology एन एक्जाम्पल अफ Maharishi Bhardwaj who invented rockets and aeroplane, Vishwa, Vishwamitra who not only invented but also used missiles. Furthermore, Acharya Kanan was the father of atomic theory. They dismiss the claims of Chinese human history. यसरी हिन्दू इन्डियन पिपल्सहरूले अथवा इन्डियन जो छन् यिनीहरूले चाइनिज क्लेमलाई डिफ्युट गर्छन्। History stating that even nuclear weapons were used during the Mahabharata time, रामायणको टाइममा यसलाई युज गरिएको थियो, and later civilization came into existence from it. The instance of the use of nuclear weapons during the Mahabharata period is fine example of Hindu civilization and its glimpse in the ancient time long before the चाइनिज गोस्ट। चाइनिजहरूले जो घमण्ड गरिरहेका छन्, कुरा गरिरहेछन्, त्योभन्दा अगाडि इन्डियन्सहरूले आफ्नो महाभारत र रामायणको इक्जाम्पल दिएका छन्। एन्ड पियर्स मुस्लिम्स, केही धार्मिक मुस्लिमहरूले के भन्छन्, रिगार्ड अल हिस्ट्री प्रायर टु प्रोफेट मोहम्मद। तिनीहरूले के भन्छन्, सबै ह्युमन हिस्ट्री प्रोफेट मोहम्मदबाट सुरु भएको हो, largely irrelevant, and they considers all history after the revelation of Quran to remove around the Muslim ummah। यस अथवा यो कुरान र प्रोफेट मोहम्मदले के गरे थिए, सुरुवात गरेका थिए। इच ग्रुप्स बिलिभ इटसेल्फ टु बी द सेन्टर अफ द युनिभर्स। हरेक ग्रुप, हरेक धर्म, हरेक संस्कृतिले आफूलाई सेन्टरमा राख्छ। एन्ड द इन्भेन्टर अफ मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेन्ट philosophies and contribution, but no group is truly unique। कोही युनिक छैनन्। Some form of their philosophy and beliefs has existed before them। The religions that survived are those were most violent। They managed to convert the large number of populations to the beliefs। According to the essayist, the Jews, his own people, also assume that they are the most important things in the world। Even Jewsहरू, यहुदीहरूले पनि के गर्छन्, आफूलाई मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेन्ट पिपलको रूपमा कन्सिडर गर्छन्। As far any popular human achievements or inventions are concerned, they claim that their credit belongs to themselves। यो सबै जति इन्भेन्सन र डेभलपमेन्टहरू छ, यो के हुन्छ, तिनीहरूको पुर्खाहरूमा जान्छ। द एसिस्ट वान भिजिटेड इजरायल। एसिस्ट एकपटक इजरायल भिजिट गर्छन् and notice that all the basic yoga postures derived from the shape of Hebrew alphabet, as the yoga teacher introduces that yoga was invented by Abraham। उनीहरूले के भने त, ज्यूजहरूले अथवा यिनीहरूले क्रिस्चियनले के भने, दे इट बिगन फ्रम द अब्राहम। दस योगा वाज इन्ट्रोड्युस्ड बाई द ज्यूज। सेकुलर ज्यूज मे नट बी एग्री विथ दिस। जो धर्ममा अथवा धर्मनिरपेक्ष छन् तिनीहरूले यसमा विश्वास गर्दैनन्। At the end, he states that it is more polite and easy to criticize one's own people than to criticize other foreigners, as they are not familiar to critics। The Jews believes that they are the chosen people and they are the Gentiles। Is not Jews, तिनीहरू ज्यू भन्दा पनि जीविस छैनन्, तिनीहरू के हुन् त, Jews believe that they are chosen people, that they are not Gentiles, are not equal to them। अरू मान्छेहरू के छन् त, तिनीहरूसँग इक्वल छैनन्। Morality, art, spirituality and creativity are universal human abilities embedded in our DNA। यसरी राइटरले मेन्सन गर्छन्। and their genesis was in the Stone Age Africa। In this way they claim their own ways। Then about the glossaries, linchpin, the most important things, retort, to make a quick reply, barbarous, cruel or wild, spectacular, impressive, disintegrate, to break, embedded, to fix deeply with, genesis, origin of something, egoism, to practice thinking or talking too often, too much about oneself, concubines। In countries, a man can legally have more than one wife, yes, and fringe in front the front part, annihilated, to destroy something completely grandiose, more elaborate than necessary, chutzpah, extreme or self-confidence, ludicrous, ridiculous or absurd। Then about understanding the text. Answer the following question. Describe the claim of Chinese nationalist about human history. Chinese nationalistहरूको claim के छ human history को बारेमा. Chinese nationalists claim that human history began with the Yellow Emperor and Xia and Shang dynasties, which later followed or copied by Westerners, Muslim and Indians. What do pious Muslims, religious धार्मिक मुस्लिमहरूले के भन्छन् बिलिभ अबाउट ह्युमन हिस्ट्री? तिनीहरूको विचारमा मोहम्मद प्रोफेट मोहम्मद र कुरानबाट यसको के गरियो त बिगिन्स गरियो, सुरुवात गरियो ह्युमन हिस्ट्रीको. What did the Aztecs firmly believes about the universe? Aztecs firmly believed that entire universe would disintegrate and the sun would not rise in absence of their sacrifice which they performed each year. उनीहरूले के विश्वास गर्छन् होल युनिभर्स डिसइन्टिग्रेट हुन्छ एन्ड सन राइज हुने छैन यदि उनीहरूले आफ्नो सेक्रिफाइसहरू स्टप्स गरे भने. According to the essay what are the universal human abilities? Universal human abilities मा के राखेको छ? Morality, art, spirituality, creativity are the universal human abilities related to humility. Then is how are the basic yoga postures derived from the shape of the letter of Hebrew alphabet? कसरी यो basic yoga postures हरु Hebrew alphabet बाट derived गरिएको? Basic yoga postures are derived from the shape of the letters of Hebrew alphabet as Trikon Nasa Nana postures imitate the shape of the Hebrew letter Aleph, and Tula Dana imitates the letter Daled, etc. In this way, we can say that is the basic yoga postures derived from the shape of the letters of Hebrew alphabet. Reference to the context. How do Hindu nationalists refute the Chinese claim that human history really began with the Yellow Emperor and Xia and Shang dynasties? Who do you agree with and why? कोसँग तिमी सहमत छौ? चाइनिज इम्पेररसँग कि अथवा चाइनिज क्लेमसँग कि हिन्दू अथवा यो के भन्छ हिन्दू नेसनलिस्टहरूसँग? Chinese nationalists claim that human history really began with the Yellow Emperor and Xia Shang dynasty, which later followed and imitated by the Westerners, Muslim and Indians and many others. But Hindu nativists refute these Chinese boasts or claims, arguing that even the aeroplanes and nuclear bombs were invented by the ancient sages in the Indian subcontinent long before the Confucius, Plato not mentions Einstein and Wright brothers. They take the reference of Hindu mythology and examples the Maharishi Bhardwaj who invented rockets and aeroplanes, and Vishwamitra who not only invented but also used missiles. Furthermore, Acharya Kananda was the father of atomic theory. They dismiss the claim of Chinese human history, stating that even nuclear weapons were used during the Mahabharata times. So, how these later developed civilization gave birth to this? I agree with the claims of Hindu people and Hindu nativists, as the Hindu holy books present many instances of origin of human history and nuclear weapons. Even Ramayana, Mahabharata are very clearly send such types of messages, which was originated long time ago than the Chinese boast of human history. Question B. The author has dealt with the controversial debate on human history. Why do you think history has been a major contested issue of present world? अहिले हिस्ट्री किन डिबेटको म्याटर भएको छ? राइटरले किन कन्ट्रोभर्सियल डिबेट गरेका छन्? In this essay, Humility, Yuval Noah Harari mostly talks about how people believe towards their culture and human history, taking views from the different people and religions such as Greek philosophers Homer, Sophocles, and Plato, and many more. Chinese nationalists retort that history really began with the Yellow Emperor and Xia and Shang dynasty. Later, Westerners and Muslim Indians follow such traditions from the Chinese civilization, but Hindus refute these Chinese boasts. Take example of Maharishi Bhardwaj, who invented the rockets and aeroplanes, and Vishwamitra, who not only invented but also used the missiles in the ancient times. The stance of use of nuclear weapons during the Mahabharata period is a fine example of human civilization in the ancient time, long before the Chinese boast. I think history has been a major contested issue in the present world due to different people having different opinion regarding their religions, culture, traditions, and rituals. Reference beyond the text. Write a short essay on conflicting history of human civilization. यसको बारेमा एउटा एस्से लेख्ने द्वन्दात्मक जो ह्युमन हिस्ट्री अथवा ह्युमन सिभिलाइजेसनको हिस्ट्री छ. Clash of civilization is a thesis that people's cultural and religious identity will be primary source of conflict in the past. Cold War world. The American political scientist Samuel P. Huntington argues that future wars would be fought not between the countries but between the cultures. अब सेमुएल पी हन्टिङटन्सले के भनेका छन्, भविष्यमा युद्ध भयो भने कल्चरको युद्ध हुनेछ, कन्ट्रीको बीचमा हुने छैन. अनि त्यो हामीले अहिले पाएका छौँ. अहिले तिम्रो तपाईको हामीले के भन्छौँ, इभन डेमोक्रेटिक कन्ट्री र कम्युनिस्टको कन्ट्रीहरूको वार भइरहेको छ हामीले भन्न सक्छौँ. For example, China and America. Huntington begins his thinking by serving the diverse theories about the nature of global politics in the post-Cold War period. Human impact and the physical environment in many ways, overpopulation, pollution, burning fossil fuels and deforestation, changes like these have triggered climate change, soil erosion, poor air quality, undrinkable water, यस्तो खालको समस्याहरू भइसकेको छ. Huntington further says that within people's journey of seeking their cultural identity, they encounter new but often old identity. नयाँ आइडेन्टिटी खोज्दाखेरि पुरानो आइडेन्टिटी पाउँछन्. In other words, they are then marching under new but old flags, which then eventually lead to war with their new but old enemies. So this is about the conflicting history of human civilization, which we find even in the current world as well. So this is the figure that reflect also how the human history begins from is. The question number B, the author claims, since it is more polite to criticize one's own people than criticize foreigners. Do you agree to his claim? It is more polite to criticize one's own people. आफ्नो मान्छेलाई क्रिटिसाइज गर्न बढी पोलाइट हुन्छ देन टु क्रिटिसाइज फरेनर्स. फरेनर्स भन्दा आफ्नो मान्छेलाई क्रिटिसाइज गर्न. Do you agree with his claim? Criticizing simply means to indicate the faults of someone or something. कसैको गल्तीलाई हामीले सो गर्नु हो. In a disapproving ways by presenting sufficient amount of judgment. त्यो पनि दिएर. Obviously it is very easy and more polite to criticize one's own people. आफ्नो मान्छेलाई क्रिटिसाइज गर्न सजिलो हुन्छ. Near by people, known one, चिनेको मान्छेहरूलाई, then to criticize foreigner or unknown people because of following reason. We can make remark about them easy way. तिनीहरूको बारेमा सजिलै बनाउन सक्छौं. We feel comfortable in stating remarks. आरामदायी फिल गर्छौं. We have conversation being straightforward about the subject matter. We can discuss on the matters we find not comfortable. नपाएपछि डिस्कस पनि गर्न सक्छौं. We can politely discuss what is right and what is wrong. We can make suggestions not orders. सुझाव पनि दिन सक्छौं. We can be kind and assertive. We can discuss in a private to find out the possible outcomes and offer those suggestions. We may be wrong to where unknown to the writer and his or her subject matters. हामी टाढाको मान्छेलाई क्रिटिसाइज गर्दा समस्यामा पर्न सक्छौं. Our criticism may be harmful to the people belong to particular religion or culture भनेपछि. So this is about the essay humility. Regarding this essay, if you have any queries, mention below in the comment sections. If you find this video helpful and interesting, like the videos, share it, subscribe it, click on the bell icon to get notification from upcoming videos. Thank you for watching this. Goodbye. Have a good day.